Hello and welcome to Unacademy, the one-stop solution for an English medium UPSC Civil Services aspirant. As part of your Conquer Prelims course today, we'll be discussing 15 very important questions out of art and culture and history. Yesterday, we covered 15 questions and I hope that you were able to grasp the level and the way the questions are going to come in the examination. Today again, we will cover 15, but I can warn you initially itself that the level is a little bit more difficult than what we did yesterday. Yesterday was to basically create the context, and tomorrow we have a very important session, which is a marathon session. And in the marathon session, we will be taking 50 questions from 7:30 onwards. And this will not just be about art and culture, but ancient, medieval, modern, and other aspects of history which is relevant for your examination. So this will be a one-stop revision series itself. Every important module which is important for the examination, I will cover through the questions itself. So, good evening to all of you, and I hope that you are gaining a lot out of these sessions generally. Now, before we start, 2 to 3 very important but very critical announcements for you. First is the offer of Manzil 24 is going to end today at 11:59 p.m. I can guarantee to you that at 24,999 you will never be able to take the Unacademy subscription for 15 months. After 11th, as it is, it will become close to 60,000, but that is not the point. The point is we have been getting a lot of different emails and different communication from students that the course was unaffordable. To make it affordable, we had the Manzil 24 offer, and as of right now, you still have close to 4 hours to become a part of the Unacademy family and make sure that you get the best educators at the best price at 54 rupees per day. This is a deal you can't miss, and this is something you have to make sure that you integrate into your preparation. Maybe joining Unacademy would be the game changer from making you a rank 100 to the rank 1. So I hope that you will make sure that if you have Unacademy in any context in your mind, you have this as an offer in that sense. Further, we have already started a batch from May 7th, and this batch on 16th May, we will start what is called as Modern India and Post-Independence. I'll be taking a proper comprehensive course on that. The orientations are happening, so do join the Triumph batch via using the code Manzil24, which is the most affordable price for Unacademy generally. One of you commented about the optional. So with regards to optional, we have history optional being offered by me, full English in 360 hours after the prelims examination. Most probably by the 3rd week of June, we will start a proper 4 to 5 month course, and you can use the code AMOPT to get 50% discount on the course fees for optional also. And this is also limited till today, so I hope that you will use this code to get a 50% reduction in that regard. Now, anybody who has any doubt with regards to history optional, they want to communicate, I've created a community for that on Telegram, so you can scan this code and join. I'm also running answer writing practice sessions there, so you can make sure that if you are considering history optional as your optional for the examination, 500 marks, you can join this Telegram channel generally. With this, I think we can begin the series and begin the series of 15 questions which are planned for today. But before I start, as always, when I will read out the questions to you, you will then interact with the poll which will be pushed into the chat box. We will see how everybody is responding. Then I will explain the reason why I asked you this question and what is the explanation behind it. So make sure that you interact with the live chat also and join us live as much as possible. Remember, marathon tomorrow. With this, let's look at the first question, which is based on a new pattern. A new pattern of question was introduced by UPSC, which is the assertion reasoning one. It's nothing new to the space of what we call as examinations, because in the NET examinations this is a very standard question, but assertion and reasoning questions have now become staple. So therefore, let us see if you can interact and how to tackle these type of questions also, I will tell you. Question number 1, the poetry of Mirabai exhibits a complete sense of decorative beauty and indicates a sense of quest. The form of poetry, the form of poetry songs written by Mirabai is traditionally known as pada. Written by here implies that what was later codified, and that is called pada. So which of the statements are correct? The poll will be in front of you now. So is A and R both true and R the correct explanation for A? Is A and R both true but R is not the correct explanation? A is true, R is false, or A and R both are false? Okay, let's see. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Both are correct. B. We have 55% at B as of right now. So C, Ashutosh says C, which is A is true, R is false. Minerva Bill says B. We'll give it another 5 seconds and then we'll see. Lock B. Ishika is saying no need for lifelines. Lock B. Okay. C. Okay. Let's stop the poll here. And yes, the answer is B, which is both A and R are true. This is a question made out of a standard source, which is R.S. Sharma. And I know the students who are basically going for this false are false because they are thinking written by Mirabai is something which does not go with regards to how the question has been asked. However, bhajan is a generic word. Bhajan is a generic word. Padas, pad means a certain shlok. Basically, Mirabai, yes, she talked about a quest. She talked about the beauty of God. That is the basic idea of bhakti itself. And second, the form of poetry and songs which were written later by her own followers, though when she was alive, she did not have a lot of followers. Later, when it was documented, it was documented in the form of pada. And why is the R not the correct explanation of A is where you have to understand something. See, the first thing you need to understand in an A and R question, there's a trick. The trick is that if R is tangentially related to A, which is the assertion, reasoning is even giving you tangentially any form of connection to A, you go with that statement, which is the A option, which is this one. The R is the correct explanation. Now, there are two ways in which you can make sure that you don't fall into the trap. First is sometimes A and R, specifically in history, are chronologically in the wrong order. For example, A would say that Gandhi came to India in 1915 and R would be saying that he launched the Rowlatt Satyagraha. But the problem is R should be explaining A. So something in 1919 cannot explain something in 1915. So this is a trick which you need to know, which is in mostly A and R questions, assertion and reasoning questions of history, you need to check the chronological order. First thing. Second thing is, if the A and R have any intersections, meaning of words, or it is tangentially explaining A, you go with it. Because sometimes what happens is we overthink about this too much and tend to see, no, it is something which is not properly explaining. But even if it is not properly explaining, sometimes it is the way the examiner is thinking. So make sure that firstly you check the chronology. And over and above that, you also make sure that if there's some form of connection. See, these both are true, but in no way is the pada argument telling us that Mirabai exhibited a devotional concept. If the statement would have been that bhakti poets generally tended to talk about devotion to God, then it would have become, the answer would have become A. So please understand this point. You need to have a certain trick to manage these questions. So I hope that you understand that first is check chronology and also check if there's a certain tangential relationship. Further check if they are basically explaining each other or not. Right? So I hope that this discussion with regards to, that is why I took this A and R question. I'll take more tomorrow when we'll have the marathon, because this becomes even more important for the questions out of ancient, medieval and modern. In modern, you can get a lot of questions. So please do understand that. Okay. melodic and metric thing is, it does not mean, see, decorative beauty here does not mean on what she's saying. It's talking about the decorative beauty of what she was expressing to God. 7:30 same time, Ashutosh, it is about expression to God. It is the quest to reach out to God, and there is a sense of decorative beauty in the way she's doing it. There is no, see, when you look at Kabir, he's a critique. He basically is critiquing society. It's social commentary. On the other hand, Mirabai, she is giving a certain sense of beauty and love and expression to how she is going to interact with God. So that idea, please understand, is based on the concept of not the way the poetry was written, it was the way she was expressing her love to God. Yes, in theme, not in style. Very good. Okay, let's move to the next question. Keeladi, sometimes seen in the news, gives us the evidence of which of the following? A crystal quartz weighing unit from the Sangam era, a prehistoric painting from the Paleolithic era, Buddhist stupa dating to more than 2000 years back, black and redware pottery during the Harappan period. Which of these statements is best describing the word which was in the news? Okay. We have A 48%. There's a division. It is between A and D. You have BRW pottery from Harappa and the crystal quartz weighing unit from Sangam era. So 50% with A, other distributed. We'll give it 10 seconds more. Surely A, Manish says. Lock in option A, there is no doubt. School of art means you are talking the context of Mathura, Gandhara and Amravati, friends, or in what context? Okay, let's end the poll now. So we have 52% with A and 52% of you are totally correct. I want to discuss this with you. We have 25% here also. See, I want to discuss this site with you. See, Keeladi is a very important site which has recently been found, though not recent, that recent, 2015 onwards it has been excavated, from Tamil Nadu. Now this was only one type of a question which could have been asked from Keeladi, which is based on the Vagai river, and it has multicultural zones again when you go for excavation. But why is that it has become such an important expression of the Sangam era? Because when we talk about Sangam, see, if you know the basic timelines, of North and South, when it comes to time period wise, you have Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic and IVC, there's an intersection. However, there's a bifurcation which happens into North and South. With regards to, first, we will have here Vedic, then we have Mahajanpadas, then we have Maurya, post-Maurya, Gupta, post-Gupta. Now in South, there's a separate timeline which goes from the Vedic period. We get what is called as the megalithic phase, and the megalithic phase has been linked to the concept of Iron Age in South India. And thereafter, there's an intersection at Sangam era, which basically dates between 3rd century BCE to 3rd century CE, roughly 500 years from BCE to CE. This period, there was a gap. There's a gap between megalithic and Sangam era. And therefore, though we have Sangam, then we have Satavahanas, and then it intersects again under what we call as the early medieval period in that sense. But this gap is something which nobody was able to explain, and there was a lot of questions being asked about the urbanization. Of Sangam era. See, Sangam era has been reconstructed like the Vedic period based on texts, which are the Sangam poems. And the Sangam literature was giving us a lot of evidence of political, but not of economic or maybe the ground level realities of the prosperity of that sector itself. And therefore, Keeladi, what it has done is, it has yielded close to 18,000 artifacts, which tell us that there was a very well developed textile industry here, because we found a lot of different what we call as artifacts related to the textile industry, and that is the context of this also. Quartz weighing unit, because there's a lot of trade which is happening, that is why there's a weighing unit which is needed to the textile industry. Further, we found a lot of gold, silver and different luxury items, which tells us that the level of or standard of living was also quite high, again going against the basic idea which we believe as being the concept of a semi-rural, not properly urbanized. But when we talk about Keeladi, it is busting that myth, and that is why a Keeladi museum is also coming, which is going to house all of these 18,000 what we call as artifacts. And therefore, this is basically breaking the notion of what we call as a certain ruralization or rural nature of Sangam era. And therefore, that is why it has become a very interesting site and is helping us rewrite the Sangam era history itself. That is why this site, though a question very easy I asked you, is a very important one, can be sprinkled around for sure. Okay. Mathura School of Art. What does School of Art mean? Mathura School of Art, that School of Art means that there is the region in and around Mathura and specifically North India, there was a lot of different places, where art was being produced, sculptural art, or for example statues were being created, and they all had one set of common characteristics. When they have one set of common characteristics, they basically become a school of art. So for example, you have Gandhara school, they are known for the wavy hair, the elongated ears itself, or the draping. So every school has its own small features, and that feature makes it into a school of art. Art expressed with commonalities over a long or over a large area is called school of art. Make sense, friends? Okay. Now we'll move to the third question now, and I wanted to discuss this properly. What time period is Sangam era? Sangam era, as I told you, is 3rd century BCE to 3rd century CE. To give you a context, basically just before the Mauryan period, and it will extend till the Kushana Satvahana period. So if you have the reference for North India in that sense. Okay. Sangam literature follow megalithic period, that is the basic belief. There is a gap between, 1500 onwards we believe that megalithic is there, which is Iron Age of South India. There is no proper transition which we found till this point. Keeladi answers that in that sense. Okay, let's move to the third question. Again, based on a certain event which recently happened, history, art and culture intersect together. With reference to Mihir Bhoja, which of the following statements are correct? He was a ruler of the Gujra Pratihara dynasty. References about him have been found in the accounts of Arab merchant Suleiman. Rajshekhara was an important poet who adorned his court. You have to tell me which of these statements are correct. Only one, only two, all three, or none of them. Okay. C, B. It's between B and C. Only two, all three. Fayaz is saying all. C. Okay. Manish, reconsider. I know what you're referring to. If you've read Satish Chandra, you will get this question properly correct. Okay, we'll give it another 5 seconds and thereafter we'll end the poll. Okay. We have 52% here and we have 40% C. See, ironically, here all the three statements are correct. I'll tell you why. See, is he a ruler of the Gujra Pratihara dynasty? Yes. But remember, there's one more Bhoja who is related to the Paramars. So the Paramars, who are the Rajput rulers, are also related to the Gujarat Pratihara dynasty. Second is does Suleiman, who came later, talk about Bhoja? Yes. Then comes the context of Rajshekhar. Now please understand this point. In a lot of different sources, Rajshekhara is always talked about in the context of Mahipal or the later Gujarat Pratihara rulers. But the first reference, textual reference to Rajshekhar is actually with regards to Bhoja. Satish Chandra, I think within the first 10 pages of the chapter on the northern sector, there's a reference to he talking about how Rajshekhar first association with the Gujarat Pratiharas was in the court of Bhoja itself. He became famous. Later. You have Mahendra Varman's reference also, you have reference to the Mahipal reference also, you have the reference to Devpal also. But the fact is, yes, he's the same as the Adivara one. The fact is, there is a certain intersection. It is based on a textual reference. This has not been made out of an extraordinary source. It is from a very standard source itself. So therefore, the third statement is also correct from the sources which are used by UPSC to make the questions. Your argument may be correct, but because it is not talking about contemporaries, it is talking about he adorned his court, meaning he was associated with his court. Yes, there was patronage which was given to him, and therefore Rajshekhar becomes correct. Straightforward question out of Satish Chandra. Bhoja, remember there are two rulers. Mihir Bhoja, he is the one, the Adivara, or that is why Mihir Bhoja is the title he took. There's one more Bhoja who is related to the Paramars or Rajput rulers. That is why I have specifically mentioned Mihir Bhoja, so that you don't get confused. I could have made it even more difficult to write Bhoja, and then you would become confused over Gujarat Pratihara or Paramar. So straightforward in that sense. Again, out of a very standard source, if you will Google these things, you will get incorrect answers. Remember this point, because a lot of you will later say, no sir, Rajshekhar was related to the court. No. Yes, you are correct with regards to the later period when he became a proper known, what we call as poet itself. But is his first association with the Gujarat Pratiharas with under Mahendra Varman or Mahipal or Devpal? No, it is with Rajshekhar. Yes. So I hope everybody is understanding the context of this question. That is why you can see I'm trying. Yes, mostly people talk about Mahendra Varman and Rajshekhar. But Mahendra Varman patronage was not the first time he got patronage from the Gujarat Pratiharas. Clear? Suleiman again is not somebody who came to the dynasty itself. He talked about in a text which he wrote later about the Gujarat Pratiharas. This is again, it says references to him, references about him. Okay, let's move to the fourth question. The context was that the Raja Mihir Bhoja statue has been recently unveiled in Haryana. So this is why it is in the current affairs. It's current affairs because there was a statue. This is a statue which was actually made about him. Okay. Now, a very important personality, social reform movement, 200th anniversary, a lot of developments and a lot of what we call as the birth anniversary celebrations are being now talked about. With reference to Dayanand Saraswati, which of the statements are correct? He founded the Arya Samaj in 1875. He believed in the infallible authority of the Vedas. He wrote the Satyat Prakash in Sanskrit. He believed that Parmeshwar or Ishwar is the fountainhead and source of all true knowledge. Which of the statements are correct? Come on, tell me. There's a very big catch in this question. Very major catch. And he's a very important personality of modern India, so you should be able to do this question easily. So we have C dominating with 66%. Not sure. 3 is correct. Not sure about third and fourth. C is only 3. So for the students who are saying, for example, only 3, which is the statement which is incorrect? A and C, one. Which is the statement which is incorrect? The first one, the second one, the third one, or the fourth one? If you're answering this as the answer, which is the one? Yes, very good, very good, very good. Yes. A lot of you started to point out that this is the incorrect statement. See, Satyat Prakash was not written in Sanskrit. It was written in Hindi. So this is the incorrect statement. Our answer is only 3. This was the catch. Did he find the Arya Samaj, Bombay Arya Samaj as it is called, 1875? Yes, it is correct. Did he believe go back to the Vedas? He believed that Vedas have the real knowledge. And second, because his idea was based on the Vedas and Arya Samaj is based on this basic idea that the true knowledge comes from the Vedas, in turn Parameshwar or God, and therefore infallibility of the Vedic knowledge itself. And therefore you have to remember him, a very important personality of modern India, and he changed everything. I've given you his literary works for reference also, which is Satyat Prakash was in Hindi. He also wrote the Veda Bhashya Bhumika, which was a commentary on the Vedas itself, and the Veda Bhashya was a Vedic commentary in Sanskrit on the Yajurved. So please do remember, he did write in Sanskrit, but not the Satyat Prakash. It was in Hindi. Now again, I cannot emphasize enough how these personalities can shape your questions. From the question on Arya Samaj, from the questions on now social religious reform, on the idea of what is the difference between a reformist and a revivalist, you will see for sure a question in the context of reformist or revivalist, either in the prelims or the mains examination for sure. And it is 200th year of his birth, 1824 he was born, and therefore it is more important that you take these questions forward in that sense. And please make sure, be it mains, be it prelims, you are doing his works, understanding what is Arya Samaj, and how now DAV also becomes very important. The Dayanand Anglo-Vedic Trust and schools also become very, very important. Lala Hansraj and the Lahore and the Punjab connection of Arya Samaj with regards to schools. And in that context, there's also one more thing which becomes important, which is the Shuddhi movement and the way there was a certain conflict between Arya Samaj and Akalis within the Punjab sector itself. So please do remember, you will see this somewhere or the other. You can see for the past at least we've taken close to 20 questions now. At least 4 to 5 questions I specifically have it on personalities, because personalities automatically give you a certain concept which in turn becomes a entry point into getting questions and predicting the questions. Now, one of you said initially he was a reformist, later turned to be revivalist. That is not technically correct. See, his organizations, his basic idea was about going back to the Vedas. So when it comes to revivalism and reformism, he's a revivalist itself. But the problem is students tend to equate revivalism with a certain negative connotation, which is technically not there. He denounced what we call as child marriage. He talked about widow remarriage. He talked about how caste system should be removed. He talked about how everything which is related to, for example, sati or the social evils need to be removed. So the goals of reformists and revivalists were the same. This is a point which you need to understand, which I always emphasize in class, which is when we talk about Dayanand, or when we talk about reformists and revivalists, the goals were the same. It's about the means being different. The end is always the same. The means is different. So revivalism, Arya Samaj also did quite a lot for social reform. It is not just that, it is the later period in which it becomes entangled with Shuddhi, and though at the same point it was entangled in Shuddhi movement, it also did, and till today one of the most sought after schools are the DAV schools. So the Dayanand Anglo-Vedic Trust is one of the most important legacies of the whole Dayanand Saraswati legacy of understanding and Satyat Prakash in that sense. Infallibility means you cannot question the Vedas. Fallibility means a certain sense of authority you can challenge. Infallibility means you cannot challenge. Okay. Now, can I move to question number 5? Everybody is with me? No issues? Okay. Yes, great. Question number 5. This is a difficult question, but has a high probability of coming, because till this point, I asked Sengol yesterday, till this point there has been no question about the new parliament building specifically, and this can be and should be a very important zone of asking a question. Infallible means cannot be challenged. The Gajadwar of the new parliament building has been inspired from the Madhukeshwara temple in Karnataka. The whole complex has 8 gates which signify different mythical creatures and represent values of democracy. Hand-woven carpets from Bhadohi have been installed in the building. Which of the statements are correct? Come on, tell me. Only one, only two, all three, or none? Okay. You are saying C, some are saying C. No idea whatsoever. C, all three correct. As of right now, C 53%. Yeah, hand knotted woven, same thing. Lock C, all three corrects. Okay, let's give another 5 seconds and then we'll stop the poll. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right. The students who were writing, pleading in a way, yes, you're right. There are not 8 gates, but 6 gates. So here the answer is B, not all three. Not all three. Yes, the Gajadwar has been based on the Madhukeshwara temple in Karnataka. Bhadohi, which is the carpet city of India itself, there have been hand-woven carpets which have been applied to the floor itself. But there are not 8 gates, but 6 gates in the whole complex itself. Now, what is more important is that you understand what are the gates and what are their significances. First, I'll show it to you. See, there are total Gajadwar, which is elephant. Then you have the Ashwadwar, which is basically the horse. Then you have Shardul. Shardula is a mythical creature which is a mixture of lion and tiger. Then you have Garudwar. Thereafter you have Hansdwar, and last you have the Makaradwar. Now each of them have a specific purpose. And have a specific understanding behind them. So, for example, the Gajadwar, as I said, is coming from the Madhukeshwara temple of Karnataka, and it embodies the idea of wisdom, wealth, intellect and memory. Gaj, as it is used from the Mauryan period itself, a representation of prosperity, grandeur. Thereafter, the Garudwar is the eagle-like Garuda. He signifies the concept of inspiration of people, administrators of the country, and this have been picked up from the Kumbakum, Tamil Nadu, Nayaka period sculptures which were there. Thereafter, you have the Ashwadwar. One of you was actually right to say that you have the Konark, Sun Temple Konark, from where the Ashwa, the horses have been taken. We spoke about it yesterday also. This is strength, endure, power, speed. Obviously, you can't learn each of these, but what you should do is you should remember that there are 6 and they represent something. This is a more realistic type of statement which will come in the examination. They will obviously not ask you what do they embody, but why not have an understanding. Shardul is a mythical creature symbolizing the power of the people of the country, and it has been taken from the Shiva temple in Morena, MP. This could be relevant for you. Where is the inspiration coming from? Then you have the Hansdwar, which is northeast, which represents the power of the essential features of democracy in the form of self-realization. This has been picked up from Hampi, the Vithala temple. And last is the Makaradwar, which is again a mythical creature in the mythological understanding, diversity of the people, and has been taken from Hoysalas temple. One of you referred to Hoysalas temple, which is helibed. So again, I am trying to give you a certain memory of these through showing it to you, so that you can again understand this. Again understand this. So 6 gates, all of these gates representing something, and more than that, they all represent democratic ideals. So we have used it as an inspiration. Further, there are also other features of the new parliament building which you should know, and this can again become a certain way of asking a question in the examination. For example, we know that it has been made in a triangular fashion, though it is not a proper triangle, but yes, it represents a certain what we call as triangular shape, 3-storied. Further, you should understand that out of the 6 gates, Ash, Gaj and Garud are ceremonial gates for the Vice President, Speaker and the Prime Minister, while Makar, Hansa and Shardul are used by MPs and the public. This is a very interesting thing, that Ashwa, Gaj and Garuda, 3, are actually earmarked for the 3 most important, that ways, executives or personalities of the parliament itself: the Speaker, the Prime Minister and the Vice President, the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha and the leader of the ruling party, which is Prime Minister. And further, we also have a constitutional hall which has the whole journey of India's democratic experience since the Vedic period, from the Sabha, Samiti and Vidata, that being represented in the form of the new parliament building and the idea which is there. So very simply, the president will enter from the same gate as the vice president, speaker or prime minister if needed, when he has a joint session, if he's basically there to address the joint session in that sense. But there are 3 earmarked for a day-to-day basis, day-to-day working of the what we call as the parliament in that regard. Yes, the president is the part of the larger parliamentary democracy, but he or she does not have a specific gate because of day-to-day understanding. Thereafter, you should also remember that when it comes to, when infallibility means that it cannot be questioned. I've said it 3 times. Now, when we talk about the representation, there was a certain controversy which happened over the emblem which was involved here, because the idea was the concept of a certain sense of the expression of the tigers, of the expressions of the lions had been changed in that sense. But the idea was that was a representation of New India. That question has already been asked in Mains 2023 with regards to lion representation, how lion has been representation in different sense itself. But please do remember, they have not asked a direct straightforward question in prelims. So you have to make sure that you are taking these type of questions forward and remembering the basic ideas in that regard. So I hope that this discussion, other than the question itself, has been useful, and any form of, I don't know if you've already seen this or not, but the idea is all of these have a certain significance within mythology, and that is the perspective which has been used in that sense. Only Hindu elements in the public and secular country, Praveen, that it's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of perspective. They represent a certain democratic notion. That is why it has been installed. There is nothing, whether from a secular perspective, if you look at it, they are just symbols. That's it. Okay, now let's move to a very simple question. If you know your UNESCO infallible, what we call as intangible heritages, consider the following pairs: Garba, which is the worship of feminine energy; Koodiyattam, Sanskrit theatre from Karnataka; Ramman, the community worship from Ladakh; Kalbelia, music and dance tradition from Rajasthan, which have been correctly matched. This is more or less a straightforward question. If you know your UNESCO intangible heritages, which you should easily get this question. Only 3. B. B is dominating as of right now. So we have 30% A, 56% B, 12% C, thereafter 1% D. 1 and 4, somebody saying A, most of you are saying B. So we'll give it another 5 to 10 seconds and we'll end it. B, A. Okay, let's end the poll now. So we have 60% B, 20% A. See, ironically, 60% of you are incorrect and 26% of you are actually totally correct. The answer is only 2 of these are correct and 2 are incorrectly matched. Is Garba a celebration of feminine energy? Yes. Navratri, the concept of Shakti, this is totally correct. Now, Koodiyattam is not from Karnataka but from Kerala. And Ramman is not from Ladakh but from Uttarakhand, coming from a specific what we call as village, Salar Dungra. And Kalbelia 1 and 4 are totally correct, coming from Rajasthan. Just to give you a certain understanding, see, this is Koodiyattam. If you look at Koodiyattam, you will automatically realize that Sanskrit theatre form coming from Kerala. It is a Sanskritic form, that is why it is very, very important. And its costumes are actually, if you look at it, inspired from the way they are having their facial makeup. It is inspired from the concept of Kathakali itself. But the most interesting aspect here is that the concept of Koodiyattam being in Kerala itself is a Sanskritic form itself. That is why it is important, and it has multiple expressions. A certain community is involved into this, very beautifully represented in that regard. Second is the Ramman. Now, Ramman has been represented in the tableaus at the 26th January parade also, and a specific village, the Salar Dungra village in Uttarakhand, it tries to appease the god Bhumiyal Devta, and when it tries to, they have a certain village-based festival in which everybody has their own roles, and that is why this is very important. Ramman is in a way is connected to community worship, and every person has a certain idea. Thereafter, you have Kalbelia, which is a representation of social commentary by women also. The dance form, you would have seen it for sure, either in your college, in your school, somewhere or the other. Last but not the least is, one of you said, how is the concept of feminine energy, Shakti, not related to Navratri? That is the whole point of Navratri, which is a celebration. This is an exact word and terminology which I picked up from the UNESCO intangible heritage site. So you should not worry about that in that context, which is that we are using the same terminologies in that sense. A very important concept here is also one more thing. Kalbelia is not just about dance and drama. Remember, it also tries to represent. It represents the what we call as struggles of the women on the day-to-day basis, which is how they manage, and that is why one of the most important routines in Kalbelia is a woman having multiple pots on her head. And in that context, what happens is that pot is a representation of the societal pressure which is there on them, and therefore how she dances to the tunes of society vis-a-vis whilst having the pressure and the social pressure on her. So it's a very beautiful form. Garba, feminine energy. Koodiyattam, wrong state. Ramman, wrong state. Ladakh, as it is, we have Vedic chanting. Remember that. And further, Kalbelia, music dance tradition coming out of Rajasthan. So please do understand, this is a very straightforward concept. What is the real function of Vidhata? Vidhata is when the Samiti meets for ceremonial purposes. It is called Vidhata, which is basically religious and ceremonial purposes. Okay. Just to remind you, please do go through this list. This is the latest edition Garba. Before that, it was Durga Puja. Please do go through this list. This would be the easiest question which UPSC can ask you for the examination. So please do make sure that you are not leaving intangible. Intangible is a much shorter list. Tangible is a much bigger list. In that, you can just remember the latest edition, Santiniketan and the Hoysalas Temple. The question is coming on that. Can I move to the next question? Question number 7. Yes? Okay, sure, sir. Perfect. Now, an interesting question. You have to match the following. Consider the following. Govind Swarup Lifetime Achievement Award. Again, a certain concept which has been now created via the last year's examination awards. The Annapurna certificate, Dadasaheb Phalke award. The A is Directorate of Film Festivals, the Astronomical Society of India, and the Indian Council for Cultural Relations. You have to match which is A1, B2, C3. You have to give me that. Okay. we have B dominating 3-1. Tina is saying C. Tina, I hope that your preparation is on track with regards to this year. Divya, Vaishali, same true for you. Okay. Nisha, C. D, C, B. Okay, so right now B is dominating 3-2-1. So A 3, okay, then B 2 and C 1. Okay, we'll end the poll now. You can always contact me, Tina, either in the special session or on LinkedIn. Okay, 45% B, 42% here, 8%, no, 42% here, 8%. See, here the answer is not 3-1, it is 3-1-2. It's a very interesting question if you asked. See, Govind Swarup Lifetime Achievement Award is related to the Astronomical Society of India. So B had to be 1. Thereafter, Dadasaheb Phalke is the easiest, which is basically Directorate of Film Festivals, and the Annapurna certificate is given by the Indian Council for Cultural Relations. Now let's talk about this. Why is it in that context? See, I asked you this question because the Govind Swarup Lifetime Achievement Award is actually given by the ASI. There are 2 ASIs, Archaeological Survey of India also, and also the Astronomical Society of India. It is given to eminent scientists who are working in astrophysics and astronomy, and it is given once every 2 years. So it's bilineal. Remember this, it's once every 2 years, and this year it has been given to Jayant Vishnu Narlikar. And therefore, this becomes the context to ask this question. Dadasaheb Phalke Film Festival, totally perfectly fine. That should not be a problem. Every year it is in the news. Then comes this Annapurna certificate. This Annapurna certificate is actually related to the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, which is, this certificate is given to Indian restaurants abroad, not in India, abroad, which basically are preserving Indian culture through their food itself. And this is a very interesting thing. Annapurna automatically should have become a food related idea. But how is ICCR related to Annapurna certificate is about how diasporic culture and how our diasporic population is preserving Indian culture in a way that it becomes a part of the culture of the country which they are in, and also it preserves Indian culture in that regard. So it promotes, preserves, conserves. So it's an idea of soft power. And now that, for example, butter chicken has become such a big hit and now considered a national dish of the UK, you can understand why we are trying to push these things, which is Annapurna certificate in a way tries to encourage the Indian diasporic population to spread their wings, become entrepreneurs, and also preserve culture in the country which they are in. That is why it is very, very important. Govind Swarup Lifetime Achievement Award, I hope that you will remember this. The Astronomical Survey of India, or Society of India rather, the ASI, and given to every 2 years once it is given, and this time it has been given to this personality. Please do remember this. Please do remember this. Important. So I hope it is not related to citizenship, both citizen, non-citizen. It is given to the restaurant. Does not matter. It has to be owned by an Indian origin. OCI is also there. The idea is very simply, you give it to a restaurant so that it can show that it is authentically related to India in that regard. So you don't have to in a way get entangled within the technicalities here. They have not put in that much technicality. It's just about the ICCR recognizes it rather than they applying for it. So remember, gastronomy, food is emerging as a very important way of India trying to push its soft power. Okay, with this, let's move to the next question. An interesting one again. Okay, everybody concentrate. Let's be back. No butter chicken reference in the chat itself. Consider the following statements with reference to the United Nations UN World Tourism Organization, UNWTO. Headquartered at Geneva, the organization works as a global forum for tourism policy issues. The Dordo village in Orissa was awarded one of the best tourism villages or village by the UN UNWTO. Let's see which of the statements are correct. Come on. The poll should be in front of you now. Which is correct? 1, 2, both. So it is between A and C. Okay, we've not reached question number 9. We are at question number 8. I've marked here C. Yes, that is fine. So C is the one which is dominating as of right now. Some of you are ruining it for everyone else by writing things in the chat box. You can wait for the poll to be over, then you can push the answer. Okay, let's end the poll. Too much information in the chat box now. Now, so we have C42, A27, D. So D, I'm more interested. Neither of these are correct and 7% have got it. See, firstly, it is not headquartered in Geneva. It is in Madrid, Spain. And second, you should know this for sure, which is Dordo village is not in Orissa but in Gujarat. And it is known for the Run festival, which is Run of Kutch festival. So first you should know about this organization, which is Madrid, Spain. Second, it talks about the promotion of tourism as a driver of economic growth. And since 2021, it has been honoring different villages which are known good for tourism in that regard. And it has 160 members. India is also a member of it. More importantly, you should know this at least, that Dordo village in Kutch has been given the best tourism village understanding. There's a whole festival which happens, and the way the hospitality is created has created a certain sense of what we call as awe for this festival in that regard. People are now encouraged to go to this every year from time to time, and has created a lot of buzz in that sense. So therefore, Dordo, Kutch, not Orissa. This was, both the statements were incorrect, so neither of them are correct. So see, a lot of you are saying that you're getting these incorrect. The point is not to get demoralized or take it as an indicator of your preparation. If you're getting these incorrect, I would encourage you to learn from these sessions and use them to make sure that you don't do the same mistakes in the examination. That is why you are here. That is why you are here. You're here to learn. Read closely. Factual mistakes is okay, but the fact of the matter is, if there's a conceptual statement, the idea is we are revising here. And with revision, there will always be mistakes. Please don't take it too hard that I'm not getting any of the questions or I'm getting all. You don't have to become overconfident, or you don't have to become what we call as demoralized. The whole Conquer Prelims idea is, before the examination, we are evaluating you so that before UPSC evaluates you, we are evaluating you. So you can have mistakes here, but not in the examination. So please do make sure that you don't take the wrong takeaways from here. Have to use it to move forward. Okay. Now, question number 9. Consider the following statements with reference to Santiniketan. One of you was referring to that. There, the area where Santiniketan is there was originally called the Bhubadanga and was renamed as Santiniketan by Rabindranath Tagore due to its conducive environment for meditation. Debendranath Tagore established a school based on the Brahmacharya Ashram model, which later evolved into the Vishwabharati University. Okay. Which of the statements are correct? We have, see, both of them being considered correct, 60%, majority of the class. Devesh, you shouldn't skip this question. If you're skipping this question, then you're skipping a very standard thing which was added into your art and culture current affairs. See, if it's a very obscure current affairs, then I understand that you skip it. If you're skipping these type of questions, then what are the questions you will do? Which is because throughout polity, economy, geography, art and culture, modern India, there will always be questions which are standard current affairs based questions. We have to attempt these because we should know these things which are given in every source. This is available. This is not even a recent current affairs. This has been there in the news for the past 10 months. So please do understand that the idea is that I'm trying to identify areas for you which are important. We'll end the poll now, but these are areas which you should make sure that you are covering. Okay, so we have 55% with C, but ironically the answer here is neither 1 nor 2 is correct. So only 8% of you. I've basically reversed the names. I've actually reversed the names. The area which was called Bhubadanga was first identified by Debendranath Tagore, and Debendranath Tagore then said, when he was establishing his own meditative understanding, he identified it. And later Rabindranath Tagore based his understanding on what is called as the Brahmacharya Ashram model, and the Vishwabharati University becomes the understanding of it. So therefore the names have been interchanged. Rabindranath Tagore should be here, father and son interchanged, and therefore please do understand one thing, that there was a giveaway in this question. There was a giveaway in this question. Vishwabharati University is actually not related to Debendranath Tagore, but related to Rabindranath Tagore. And the idea of meditation and the original idea of Santiniketan, and this is why UPSC asked a question in 2023, the Gandhi Tagore question which came because of Santiniketan getting a certain certification from the UNESCO. So please do understand that UPSC has already asked a question with regards to mains. Now they can change the idea and push it into prelims. So do make sure that you are not leaving these type of questions, and these are basic things which are there. Santiniketan is actually based on an area which was, this is the building, very beautiful building which represents the old style Victorian architecture in that sense. This building was originally created over an area which is called Bhubadanga, and it was later renamed as Santiniketan. The architecture itself is Victorian, represents the initial type of what we call as Indo-Gothic style of architecture. Later, because Calcutta as it is, most of the buildings are Indo-Gothic, with the representation in New Delhi changing to Indo-Saracenic in that regard. So please do remember Santiniketan, Hoysaleshwara temples, these things. There's a question coming very soon. These are things you should not be leaving in the examination. These are very simple, straightforward concepts you should be. Why is 1 incorrect? Because no, it is saying that it was originally was renamed by, it was originally not found by Rabindranath Tagore. Renaming happens later, but it is the whole continuation. It is saying the area was originally called Babadanga and was renamed as Santiniketan by Debendranath Tagore due to its conducive environment for meditation. It is referring to both, not and is there. Okay. Now comes the question with regards to the idea of sacred assemblage of Hoysala or Hoysaleshwara temples. Consider the following statements. I want very good coverage here because this has been in the news. Multiple mocks you would have given same type of things. Consider the following statements with reference to sacred assemblage of Hoysalas. The Chennakeshwara, the Hoysaleshwara and the Keshava, these three together become the sacred assemblage, are dedicated to the same deity. The Chennakeshwara and the Hoysaleshwara temple were commissioned under the patronage of King Vishnuvardhan. All three temples are geographically located on the banks of rivers. So, which of the above statements are correct? This is basically trying to apply, and how do you know the temples in that regard? So, only one you are saying, you have only one, B, only two. I hope that you're liking these questions because I've tried to not just ask you who was the one who made it or this and that. I'm trying to make you apply the idea rather than just asking you a factual question. This is basically the concept of applying the concept of UNESCO tangible intangible heritage, and therefore one is incorrect. A Loxer, A only one. We have A 43%. Beautiful, very good. Very, very good. Okay, let's stop it. We have 43% totally correct. Very good. Very good. See, there are multiple catches. Firstly, all three are not geographically located on rivers. The Hoysaleshwara temple is based on the Dwarasamudra lake, and Chennakeshwara and Keshava are on the river Yakchi and Kaveri. On the other hand, the first statement is incorrect because Chennakeshwara and Keshava are Lord Vishnu, but Hoysaleshwara temple is Lord Shiva. And therefore, the catch in this question are multiple if you are able to do it. So 1 and 3 are incorrect here. Second is totally correct. Vishnuvardhan is the intersection between the Chennakeshwara and the Hoysaleshwara temple. Now, just to create a certain memory in your mind, I'll show you these temples also. So I've taken two as the example. First, the Chennakeshwara and the Hoysaleshwara temple. If you remember, yesterday I was referring to Pitha, I was referring to Nagara style and Vesara style. Now I want to revise Vesara style with you through this whole concept itself. So there are 3 to 4 very important characteristics which make this what we call as Vesara style. Firstly is this zigzag design, which you can see here. This is called Jagati. See, Jagati in the context of what we call as Nagara refers to the Pitha or the raised platform, but Jagati refers to the zigzag platform which is made in Vesara style, and therefore this is a small, not a very high, but a small raised platform which is made in zigzag design. Further, this is made on what is called a stellate plan. Stellate plan means that it basically looks like a star from the top. You will have shikhars on all the corners and the entry. So you enter from here and you have total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different what we call as vimanas, or you want to call them shikhars. The idea is the design is shikhar, that is why it is Nagara. The structure looks like Nagara, but the ornamentation which is happening on this is based on Dravida notions of how they used to make basically stories on them. Then, as you said, yes, the very iconic black basaltic rock which you see here is also very iconic of the Hoysaleshwara assemblage itself and was used in Vesara quite a lot. And remember, the Hoysala dynasty is the best example of the Vesara style generally, and these temples have now been recognized for their beauty and their intersection of Nagara and Dravida. So again, I hope this is on your fingertips. This is on your fingertips. I have a question, Sukriti, on the Ayodhya Ram Temple also. I will ask you something there. You tell me. I have told you zigzag design here. You see this resemblance and then tell me how I always argue, which is the concept that Ayodhya Ram Temple has a certain Nagara style with a Vesara mix. So that way it is important. Okay, with this, let's move to the next question. Can I do that? One of you said I have not answered your question. Just write the question again. Okay, Panchayatan feature. Panchayatan is there in all three, Nagara, Dravida, Vesara. Panchayatan will automatically come in. Okay, subsidiary shrines, yes. Okay. Question number 11. An interesting one again on architecture. Consider the following statements with reference to the Nilachal architecture, which was recently in the news. It is characterized by a bulbous polygonal dome. This style is an intersection of Nagara style of temple architecture with Mughal designs and architectural conceptions. An example of this architecture is in the Kamakhya temple. Which of the statements are correct? Come on. How to get annotativity of these lectures? Okay. We have C and B. We'll push in a link into the chat box, don't worry, for the PPTs itself. I saw the comments previously also. We'll try to push in the link to all this is actually given in the description box, if you will see, but we'll even try to add it in the chat box. Okay, we have B, only 2. The people who are saying B, which is the incorrect statement here? I will, Divya, show it to you, don't worry. Confused about second statement, but seems right. Fayaz says all. Third for sure. Second, third. Achha, you are more or less confused between third. Okay, we'll end the poll now. So we have 50% B, but actually the answer here is 34%. You are right. All three are correct. This seems to be a little bit of a far-fetched statement, but it isn't. I'll show you the Kamakya temple. See, it is named after the hills, the Nilachal hills. That is what's called Nilachal architecture, also called the Assamese or Ahom style of architecture. But there is a lot of intersection. I'll tell you how. See, first it says it has Nagara style design with Mughal design. So Nagara, because of the way it has been made, which is the concept of Mandap, Shikhar, and the concept of Armandap, and how the Garbhagriha is made. But there is a very interesting peculiarity. First is, you can see here, called the Bengali sloping roof. Bengali sloping roof. And this roof, if you have seen previously, is also in the Peacock Throne, which is in the Red Fort, known very popularly because of the Jharokha Darshan itself. Is called the Bengali sloping roof. And Bengali roof, the way they used to make the shikhar was also like this, with a strong sloping influence in that sense. Now, the other thing is, the Mughal influence actually comes in the shikhar itself. The first statement is the giveaway. If you thought that the first statement is correct, then the second statement had to be correct. Yes, the Pala and the Sena take it forward. Because it says bulbous polygonal dome. If the dome word is used, it automatically means that it has to have Indo-Islamic architecture. See, the first word is bulbous. Bulbous means that the neck is a little bit tighter than the whole dome itself which has been made. It's called bulbous, looks like a bulb. Further, yes, Nagara plus Sarsanik in that sense, which is a Mughal. And further it says polygonal. Polygonal means that the base has 5 sides to it. This is actually an intersection of how the polygonal domes were made during the Mughal period, which you can see, for example, in the Humayun's tomb. For example, you can see it in the bulbous dome. Best example, the Humayun's tomb dome is not bulbous, but it has polygonal sides to it. It is nothing but the Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal has the best example of a bulbous dome here like this. So the idea is very simple. If the first statement was correct, then you should have automatically marked that the second statement also correct. Because if you are agreeing to this, then how can you not agree to the second one? Because the concept of a dome itself comes from Indo-Islamic architecture. And yes, this is the Kamakya temple which I am showing you. This was in the news. This architecture was in the news. I hope that, see, unlike yesterday where there was a lot of factual, I've tried to be more conceptual today. I'm trying to teach you architecture. Because I realized yesterday a lot of you have, for example, left art and culture for some reason in the examination. And therefore, what I want to do is I want to revise more than actually evaluating you. And therefore, I'm trying to give you as much knowledge as possible so that you can learn from these sessions than actually just getting evaluated. So that is why all standard questions I'm asking, but with a little bit of pinch of salt. Over and above that, I'm trying to teach you more. And I'm trying to show you images so that it does not. Art and culture without images makes no sense. I'm trying to give you a certain imagination. So in the examination, maybe this is what will hit you. I tried to do it yesterday also. I'm doing it today also. Tomorrow in the marathon also we'll do the same. Can I move the next question? Yes? Okay. Everybody is with me till this point? No issues? Okay, Now, the question which I asked you previously, now with a certain modification for temples. Consider following: Veerabhadra temple, the Guruvayur temple, the Sri Kalaram temple or mandir. Fresco painting with the absence of primary colors, elephant festivals, Dr. Ambedkar's demand for temple entry rights. Which of them is, or which is the code for the correctly matched ones? Okay, come on, tell me. Marathon will be starting at 7:30 itself and we will go on till at least 10:30. So 50 questions I have to cover. It may go on till 11, but the same time tomorrow. IR Marathon is on 1st June. So it's between A and C. ARJ is saying, did knew this. Easiest question, Pratibha, you get the difficult questions correct. Perfect, Ambika, nothing better. If my teaching is helping you, nothing better. Okay, let's end the poll now. So 54% of you got it totally correct. Yes, it is 1, 2 and 3. Veerabhadra temple, also known as Lepakshi, is known for its murals on the ceiling, which has mostly primary colors are not there. Blue is the one which is actually not there. And Guruvayur temple is known famously for the elephant festival which happens there. And then we have the Sri Kalaram Mandir, which is known for the Satyagraha which happened in March of 1930, will go on till 33, which was a temple entry movement. You also know that one more temple entry, I will be discussing it with you tomorrow as part of the marathon. The Vycom Satyagraha was also in the news. Tomorrow I'll have a question on Vycom. Today I'm also discussing Sri Kalaram Mandir. Here Dr. Ambedkar was directly related to, and he led this movement for 3 years. However, there was no real outcome which came where he actually realized that the caste notions and the notions of the priests are much stronger, and he then abandoned this concept and went for education and social justice and social reform as a very, very important one. So this is again a very what we call as interesting questions from the idea. This is in Nasik. Ram Temple, Nasik. So the answer is A, you already know that, and the Guruvayur temple is in Kerala. This is in Nasik. So yes, Vycom I will discuss with you tomorrow. 100 years of Vycom. We did it in one of the UCAN sessions, but maybe here also we'll do it. Okay. Yes, Renuka, ancient medieval art and culture is very soon going to start by June endish. I am starting Modern India on 16th May. Modern India post-independence. Okay. Marathon sessions will have static questions, which is ancient, medieval, modern, plus art and culture, and it will be a mix of, but I'll keep it 70-30, 70 static, 30 art and culture. Okay. Yes, Vishnu, I do remember you, and you also told me that your name was Bhavya Shukla, so I hope that you are all well and your preparation is on the right track itself. Okay. Question number 13, and you get the most celebrated temple as of right now. Very important question. Consider the following: Nitya Mandap, Bhoj Mandap, Sabha Mandap, Prathna Mandap, and Dhyan Mandap. Which of the above are architecturally a part of the Ayodhya Ram Temple? Come on. Ashutosh, we have 2 more questions. You have to tell me which of these mandaps is part of the Ayodhya Ram Temple. Only 3 as of right now, all 5. Very good. Mandap, Amit. Mandap you don't know. In a Nagara style temple, there are 3 to 4, I'll give you a 2D design first. There are 3 to 4 basic what we call as features. You have Ardha Mandap, the Mandapa, which is the place where you sit and congregate and what we call as do dhyan. Thereafter you have the Garbhagriha, then you have the Shikhara, then you have the Kalash on the top. This is called Amlaka, this is called Pitha or Jagati as per context, and this is how you go into the temple itself. So I'll end the poll now. We have 43% D. I'll tell you what is the answer. But please do understand, it is saying that there are actually multiple mandaps in the Ram temple. And therefore, what is the purpose of that mandap? It is nitya means dance, bhoj means food, sabha means where you meet, pratna when you do pratna, and then you have dhyan mandap. But the first point is you should know what is mandap. So mandap is the congregational hall section. You would have seen it in movies, you would have seen it in soap operas where the hero is going from left to right whilst holding the temple bells. That is the mandap section going towards the Garbagriha itself. Now, here I've played with the words. If you go by the Ayodhya Ram Temple, there is Nitya Mandap, Rang Mandap, Sabha Mandap, Pratna Mandap and Kirtan Mandap. But there is no Bhoj Mandap and there is no Dhyan Mandap. So there is no Pratna Mandap also. So you have a Nitya, Rang, Sabha, Pratna. Pratna is there and Kirtan is not there. So there are two which are incorrect. So Bhoj is incorrect and Dhyan is incorrect. So only 3 are architecturally a part of it. A. So please do remember the names because this can come in the examination. Nritya means dance, Rang means where you will basically have bhajan and kirtan. So the Rang is set, the Rang, and thereafter Sabha where everybody will congregate, the Pratna where you do Pratna, and Kirtan where you do bhajan kirtan specifically. Now, yes, in one of the sessions I had changed it to Sabha to Samiti, if you remember the UCAN session. Now, this is the architectural plan. Now I want to discuss this with you. This is the architectural plan of the Ayodhya Ram Temple. Only this structure as of right now is ready. Everything else is coming into, it will take 1.5 years for everything to be constructed. Now you need to know that there are 2 ways of approaching it. Firstly, you need to understand the Nagara style elements here. Nagara style elements you will see Shikhar, Amlak, Kalash, the mandap part, the ardha mandap part, and thereafter the raised platform. But have you seen this somewhere today? Have you seen this somewhere today? This part which you see here, the platform at which it has been made. Can you see that? Where have you seen this? Yes, in the Hoysaleshwara temple. And therefore, just to give you a reference point, when we discussed Hoysaleshwara temple, I showed you the zigzag design. This is what is called the Jagati of Vesara. And if you look at it, you have the same type of design from top also, zigzag. This is where, if you remember my R-Pass session in which I discussed Ayodhya Ram Temple design, it is primarily Nagara. But it has certain elements which come directly out of the Vesara style, which is the zigzag architecture of Hoysaleshwara. So the Jagati has been made. See, you will not call it a Pitha because Pitha is mostly very high platform. Pitha is a word which is generically used for a platform in Nagara. But here we will call it Jagati specifically because it is the exact same thing which has been seen previously. So if you look at it, there are multiple mandaps. These mandaps have been given names. That is what this question was about. Nitya, Rang, Sabha, Pratna and Kirtan. And you can get any of the questions on any of the aspects. So this also has a water treatment plant, will also have ramps and lifts. It is a modern way interpretation of a temple itself. It also has Panchayatan design, and as of right now, when this will come into existence fully, then we will be in a better situation to understand the other architectural features also. Are we clear about this? I could have asked any type of question. All 5 mandaps have not been created till this point, Manish. That is the problem. You only have the Pratna mandap and the Sabha mandap ready as of right now. Whatever you see in the images where people are bowing down and looking at Lord Ram, that is actually the Sabha mandap. And we need a little bit more time to get everything. Okay. We have fortification. Yes, Ansari, you can say that. A boundary wall, but there's no water tank specifically. A boundary wall would be something where you can believe that it is a Dravida style understanding also. That way it's a modern interpretation of a temple with a lot of different elements being taken in that sense. Okay, let's move to the second last question. Consider the following description. It was the first ashram established by Mahatma Gandhi after coming to India from South Africa in 1915. Jeevanlal Desai, a fellow lawyer, helped Gandhi or Gandhiji set up this ashram. The above statement describes which of the following ashrams of Gandhi. Okay, come on. Okay, A, very good, very good, very good, very good. The students who would be from our program of UCAN would know it, and if you've not been paying attention, you will get this incorrect. Anirban is saying not A. Forgotten. Okay, we'll end the poll now, and most of you are towards Sabarmati. 47 Sabarmati, D 19. Here the answer is actually the least percentage. C is the answer. The first ashram which was built before Sabarmati was where he came and stayed, which is called the Kochrab ashram near Ahmedabad, in the village of Kochrab itself, and this Victorian style building was where he stayed before he will choose not to join the INC, not to join, and the Prime Minister has inaugurated the new reconstructed building in which there is also a museum, before not choosing to join the Indian National Congress, not joining, for example, the Home Rule League, and not choosing to go into any active politics, and choosing to go and use the railways in a way of surveying India itself. All these decisions were taken here. And then he will set up Sabarmati Ashram and then start to travel. So please understand this, that this is again a very straightforward question out of a very standard story which has been there in the news. So I hope that you will not get this incorrect in the examination, but you have to learn about this ashram more, because the new building has been reconstructed very recently. It has been inaugurated by the Prime Minister. So, and he himself went there and inaugurated it. That way it is important. Okay, now we'll move to the last question. I don't think you will have an idea about him, but why not? Consider the following statements with reference to Nana Jagat Seth Shankar Seth. He was the founder of the Native School of Bombay, which later evolved into the Elphinstone College in 1856. Varda is very late. Varda is very late. Varda is after the non-cooperation, after the CDM. When he said that I will not go back to Sabarmati, I will go to Varda. I will only go back to Sabarmati when I will believe that I will get Swaraj in that regard. So he was the first president of the Bombay Association. Which of the statements are correct? Okay, come on. Pratibha, don't jump to conclusions. Yes, Mumbai Central Mumbai Railway Station has been renamed after him. Nana Jagat Seth Jagannath Shankar Seth. Very, very popular, very wealthy merchant of Bombay. Take your time, Pratibha. Always think of it. Lock C. Ishika is saying, lock kar diya jaye. Guessing A. Fayaz saying D. Anirban is saying he's the architect of Mumbai. C. Okay, we'll give it another 5 seconds and we'll end the poll now. After this, you can ask me questions. I'll be happy to take any questions if you have. And if you are planning to revise everything with me for marathon, 7:30 we start tomorrow. Okay, we'll end. Panchayatan is not only limited to Dravida, it is also there in Nagara. Nagara, it is first. Okay, so here the answer, 38% of you are totally correct. It is C. He is the one who started the native school of Bombay, which was later converted into Elphinstone College in 1856. 1857, other 3 universities also emerged: Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras. And yes, he was the first president of Bombay Association. So I have all the details for him, about him for you. So the Mumbai Central Station has been named after Nana Jagannath Shankar Seth, and he is called the architect of Mumbai because most of the buildings and streets which you see in the old Kolaba section is based on his designs in that regard. He also gave paid patronage to a lot of education for girls in that sense. He founded the Elphinstone College, which will later involve basically the native school of Bombay, which will later evolve into Elphinstone. Railway project also, the Boribandar and Thane route, he is the one who was in the committee to give an impetus also. He also was nominated to the Legislative Council of Bombay, President of Bombay Association, and the Indian member of the Asiatic Society of Mumbai. So he is considered the first member also for the President of the first Bombay Association, which will later get subsumed within the INC. So before I end this session, firstly, I hope that you liked the session and the questions, 15 questions I've taken. 30 questions total have been covered with you in the past 2 days. And I've tried to cover as many people who are having anniversaries, and more than that, anything which has been in the news. But if it has been in the news for a longer period, I've given you a more difficult question, and I tried to argue to you that there are certain, if you can cover these 30 topics, out of this, any current affairs based question in the examination will hit for sure. Thereafter, tomorrow what we will do, we'll meet at 7:30 again, and now I will start to cover with you the static questions. I'll start with first 10-15 questions current affairs, then I will transition into ancient, then medieval, and we'll end with modern. Right? Okay. So thank you so much. If you don't have a question, I will see you tomorrow at 7:30. If you do have a question, I'll be happy to take it. Thank you. Iconic students automatically get access to UCAN. Sir, from Brahmi Tamil script, Brahmi is the original script out of which old Tamil script will come, out of which Tamil modern script will come in. See, Pad refers to what she, understand this point. It is saying the nature, in the first question, the nature of her poetry is not explained by the form of her poetry. That is the difference between A and R. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Tomorrow, new questions, obviously new questions. That you should expect from Chetan sir in internal security. He will cover that. Operation Blue Star, he will do it. Flat roof of temple style is. That is, Pratibha, not a temple style. That is basically the first and the second stages of temple development. There are 5 stages. Flat roof, then Shikhar will develop in the 3rd stage. Perfect, Mithali. Nothing better. What if there is confusion in 2 options? See, Devesh, the rule is if from 100% probability, if you can bring it to 50%, which is if A, B, C, D is given, if you're able to eliminate 2, then it's worth taking a shot. If you're at 75% where you only be able to eliminate 1, then don't try to attempt it. There is no magic potion which can tell you which is the right answer. Here you have to see net hit rate. For example, if you're attempting 10 questions of 50% probability, if you're getting 6 correct and 4, then it is worth doing it. That will develop in that sense. See, the Sunidhi, the area was identified by Devendranath Tagore. The name Santiniketan was also given by Devendranath Tagore. The university called Santiniketan was developed by Rabindranath Tagore, and Rabindranath Tagore will also establish the Vishwabharati University in the same complex itself. So the point was that there is the word, I am discussing the initial part in the first statement, later part in the second one. For prelims, you will cover ancient medieval. Yes, that is prelim for tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will discuss all of it, which is ancient medieval, modern, art and culture in that sense. Okay. William Jones, Asiatic Society of Bengal, William Jones. Sir, out of 100, my right is 30. So how can I clear the cutoff? Bahadur, you have to increase your hit rate. You have to practice more. Thank you, Ankita. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Ayodhya Temple, Udiya style of architecture. No, it has not Udiya. It has pure Nagara style architecture plus different other aspects taken from Dravida and Vesara. Okay, question number 4. Let me see what is question number 4. Here the catch was just that Satyat Prakash is not written in Sanskrit, it is written in Hindi. And he talked about the infallibility. Infallibility means Vedas are supreme authority, cannot be challenged. And within that itself, when the Arya Samaj came into existence, it took into the idea that God is the fountainhead. What is written within the Vedas is the source of true knowledge. So the knowledge source should not be the priest. It's a basic critique of what we call as the intermediary, religious intermediary. He said the God has the real knowledge, not the Brahmin who is sitting in the temple itself. Difference between diarchy and dual government. Dual government was there in 1770 till 1772, between 1765 by Clive. That is the differentiation between what is called Nazim and Diwan, where the East India Company had the Diwan's role, Reza Khan had the Nazim's role. This is called dual government. Diarchy is not a structure of government, but it is a legislative, it is a jurisdictional differentiation on legislative subjects. So diarchy was the concept of first provincial and central subjects, and then within the provincial subjects reserves and transferred. So that is a jurisdictional concept within legislative subjects. That is a structural differentiation. See, Ambika, what you should do is that if you're good at ancient, medieval, modern, then art and culture will automatically come to you. Use this session to learn it. GI tags, I can ask you a simple question tomorrow, new editions, that is not an issue. For mains, modern post-independence comes along with current affairs. Yeah, more modern questions are mostly defined by or inspired by the questions which come with regards to current affairs in that sense. What about GI tags? All current goods have to be remembered. No, Avnish, the latest edition, I'll ask you a question tomorrow. Thank you, Dheeraj. Thank you for that. I have read art and culture. But that is more than enough. Sky, that is more than enough. That timeline, Mitali, I can give you that. I'll try to bring it. I can't write it down. It will take a lot of time, but I'll give you that. The difference between Sultan and Badshah, it's just a perception of what title he's taken. Badshah is more towards the West Asian type of understanding. Sultan is mostly in India. There's no major difference. King can be called Sultan, Badshah, anything. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow with the marathon. Be ready, energetic after the session of Chetan sir, half an hour. Get the energy, and thereafter we will cover 50 questions on static plus current affairs tomorrow, 7:30 to 10:30 or 11 p.m. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.